You're listening to Rio Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out RioRadio.com.
This episode is brought to you by Entrepreneur Addict.
If you feel like marketing changes every 5 minutes, you're not wrong. You're right. And that's why we built Entrepreneur Addict. We take the chaos out and give you one simple roadmap to follow. Video that converts, local search results that rank, and content that actually connects with people. And all of this brings real results. Get started now. Get the clarity instead of the overwhelm by going to entrepreneuraddict.com/REIA now.
Welcome to Rio Radio, episode 275. This is the Real Estate Rundown with Aiden Bear and Ted Kosh.
And Owen Dashner. So I apparently
the lack of confidence he had when he said that.
I apparently need to start wearing a bag over my head. According to Aiden, he just informed me that I looked good from the neck down, pretty much. So yeah, and Ted was trying to claim that he looked really good for his age, and Aiden gave him an average rating, and then looked at me and said, yeah, basically from here down you look at this is verbatim what he just told me. So I'm rolling into this episode with a lot of confidence right now, people. Thanks, Aiden. Merry Christmas.
You know what? We give such a hard time about him looking like he's 40.
This is all coming back now.
Yes.
Also, I do want to make sure we have on video you pulling another crisp 20 out of your wallet and handing it to me, or I'll screenshot the PayPal that you're going to send me.
Yeah, you got my last PayPal.
Because 2 weeks in a row now, you've lost a $20 bet to me before this.
Yep.
When we were trying to guess someone's age. And yeah, I'm the new recipient of a nice crisp twinner.
I was 2 months off.
Yeah, 2 months off. No, I would have hit the cutoff still because I gave you 2 extra years over what you said.
I know.
Anyway, so I'm $40 richer is the message here, and
not if you talk to Megan Ahern.
Okay, we're not talking cumulative bets with people. Okay, we're talking me and you. I'm just saying you're 40 in the hole. So we're rolling into 2026. And I'm the plus.
Is this our new thing? Right? Do I need to start hitting the ATM before we podcast and bring $20 for whatever the bets are?
Actually, let's do that. This is a new segment is born. Okay, $20, Aiden.
I got 20 on that.
Look, you're on the hot seat. You have to start coming up with some bets. This is inclusive.
Was that like a 90s
We're
rap?
an affirmative action style place here, and you're our producer.
Wasn't that like a 20s rap song? I got 20 on it.
Keep going.
I don't know.
Everybody wants to hear this.
No.
No?
You're the rapper.
I got $20 in my pocket.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's Macklemore.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm thinking.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm thinking I got 5 on it.
Oh, no.
I
Anyway.
got 5 on it. Yeah, I know that song.
I am sorry for all of you listening to this mess that we're about to get into, but okay. So this was such a fun week, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So you didn't have too many dramas.
Well, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but yesterday, this is kind of cool. So for those of you local listeners here, Dodge Street is one of the main thoroughfares in Omaha, right? And there's a property that I'm a part investor in that used to be called Sinesta Suites. And it's right by
Sanjay's old place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Sanjay, the lost episode.
He's owned it for, like probably about 6-7 years. He's the one that sold it.
To us?
Yeah. Yes.
You sure?
Dead sure.
Okay. Well, I was going to brag about what a good deal I bought, but maybe he'll listen to this.
Brag.
Anyway, so we just bought that yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're going to be converting that into long and midterm rentals. So it's a really nice property.
I walked it.
Not just saying that because Sanjay owned it.
I had a client went and buy it, and I walked it like 6 months ago, and didn't all come together. So yeah, I walked through the weight rooms and laundry facilities, and everything is cool, and it's got big office space.
Yeah. So cool spot. That anyway, kind of excited about that one.
I would be
just
too.
a
You doing
small
that, Chris and
investor
Colin?
in that. What's that?
You doing Chris and Colin on that? Or?
Yeah, and a few others.
Yeah.
So it'll be a kind of a JV deal, but kind of a cool spot. Haven't done any big moves like that in a little while.
When I was walking it, Wyatt Simon was the one that put an offer on it right after that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and then so I must have went south. I'm assuming, but yeah.
So anyway, that's a new one in the hopper. So that'll be kind of cool.
You're like 10xing totally this year. Like you're getting your hands into a lot of stuff.
Sneakily. Yeah. Anyway, I'm the guy behind the guy behind the guy on this. So
hey,
it's
more
like,
power to you. That's what it's supposed to be about. I mean, it's you grow and then you invest, right?
Yeah. Well, I have something that I wanted to share for today's
Golden nugget.
Oh, nice. You matched my energy on that. So today's gold nugget.
It's been 275 episodes.
That's
so.
true. So, okay, some of you know, most of you know probably that I'm a part owner of a hard money lending business, and we get pitched a lot of deals. So we'll have loan requests that come in, and some of them are just like absolutely bananas. Like, everything from my business is, facing bankruptcy, and we have a whole bunch of inventory, and we need somebody to finance that so we can basically recover that, get some operating capital. Everything from that to traditional, fix and flips to, BRRRR type properties to multifamily to commercial, like land development, like you name it. Like I've seen so many random things come across the desk. So the message today is the money is in the money. And when you are able to at some point kind of get out of the I am operating, I am doing all of the work, I'm flipping this house, I'm doing a DIY, and then you kind of get into a point where you hire other people to do it. And then you get to a point where you're not having to do everything all the time yourself, and you start leveraging other people and those kind of things. So let's say there's that scenario, but let's say there's also a scenario where you really like real estate, but you don't have the time, interest, ability to manage and operate and handle rehabs and project management, all that. There is a lot. It is so fun to run a lending business. And it doesn't have to be all of your own money. I think that's the misconception that a lot of people have. They're like, oh, I'm going to do a hard money loan. And then they happen to know somebody that's a good rehabber or somebody that flips houses. And they maybe make, $100,000 loan or $200,000 loan, something like that. It doesn't have to be all of your own money. And I wanted to bring this up today because I get asked a ton from people off of social media, just random phone calls, texts, whatever, like, hey, what's hard money like? How do I start a hard money lending business? And then I get all these calls, and I'm like always telling people, like, you need to know your laws, first of all, in the state you're operating in. So anybody catching this that's not in the Omaha or the Nebraska or Iowa market, which is a lot of our listener base, if you're outside of that market, you need to know your local lending laws in the state you operate in. So disclaimer here, I'm not an attorney, CPA, any of that stuff. But laws vary wildly, I would say, from state to state. So like some of the states that you would think are totally normal to operate in, like Nebraska is pretty much the Wild West. So there's usury laws that you can only charge X amount for interest if it's an owner occupant, right? So if you're going to issue a mortgage, the Dodd-Frank Act introduced a lot of legislation that said you can't charge over X amount of interest for an owner occupant. If you're doing a B2B loan, it is a completely different ballgame. So if you're loaning to an LLC or a corporation, the limits on what you can charge for interest and kind of like all the regulations behind it are completely different than owner occupant stuff. Now, where I'm going with all this is you can still participate in deals even if you're a lender. So there's situations where somebody is, let's say they're taking down a commercial property, a multifamily property, something like that. And they come to you and they say, okay, we need to raise this amount of money. We have a short window, and you can get yourself into a preferred equity or like when you're going into a deal, you don't always have to be debt only or equity only. There are situations where you can be both. So you can make a loan on a property that converts into equity at a certain point after refinance. You can do pref equity, so you make that loan and then you're making basically a preferred return on it. What I'm saying with all this is, I didn't plan this out very well, obviously, but you can carve out equity in deals on the lender side as well. So when you get to a point where you have access to capital, and it doesn't always have to be yours, if you have people that you know, like, and trust, and it reciprocates with them, they have capital, they need to place it. You can put it into loans. You can make a really good return on that if you're putting in the right deal with the right operators, and you can carve out pieces of deals. So it's like the whole, do you want a whole grape or a slice of a watermelon, type of an outlook on it. So look into making loans on deals as a nice way to kind of supplement the income that you're already doing. Or if you want to go 2 feet and jump into this and make it a business, you can raise capital and basically play arbitrage on the interest you're paying and the interest you're charging. And it's a great business, guys. So if you're listening to this, you can start a hard money lending business or a private lending business without having millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Creating your own competition.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a great business. The water's warm. Financing has been kind of weird the last few years. So there's alternative options for that, and a lot of investors need it. So we're getting more and more activity from marketing we've been doing, a lot of more outreach, and it's been a lot of fun.
How's that marketing been turning out for you?
It's a mixed bag. Some of the stuff, and this is
I put a comment on one of your videos, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
But marketing's a weird animal, and I know if you listen to a couple of weeks ago, we had Matt Tompkins on. And he's a marketing pro, guru. One of my favorite episodes we've ever done. He just dropped all kinds of knowledge on that. But I would say social media is a weird thing because sometimes I spend a ton of time thinking through a really good post. And I'll be like, I'm going to put a ton of really good info in here and think this through. And I'll put it out there to the world and I'll get 10 likes or, not much engagement at all. And then other times I'll just make a funny random comment or a observation that I have. And I had a LinkedIn post, and I think you and I talked about this. I had 200,000 impressions and
insane.
A whole a crap ton of activity on it, comments and all that stuff. And I got a ton of follows after that, a ton of profile views and connection requests and stuff. And I think I got 100 new LinkedIn connections out of one post I made. And it resulted in a bunch of outreach. So I had probably, I'm going to guess, I don't know, 10, 12 different people that reached out and said, hey, I see you do hard money, or I looked at your profile and I see you guys do this, and I have this deal over here. So I'm just saying this is kind of a two-parter gold nugget, but don't sleep on that. And LinkedIn is, and I know you groaned when we started talking about LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, because it takes work.
I did log in and accepted the 286 friend requests I had.
See, there you go. But depending on what you're looking for, if you're visible and active and people start recognizing that, and you and I started, talking before we hit record, I've had people that I've known for a long time that reached out to me recently that we raised north of 7 figures from in the last couple of weeks that I've known for a long time that I've never hit up purposefully.
Because they got reminded.
And said, oh, I see what you guys are doing. What are you guys doing? Mm-hmm. And then it led to a meeting, and it led to a conversation, and that led to us raising money.
Pays that bill.
Yeah. So just don't sleep on all that stuff. And I know it's work, but you can hire people for it. But I would also say people really resist AI generated content. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Totally.
It's more when it comes from you and it's authentic. And if you have to time block and schedule time once a week to do that, it's worth it.
I tell you what, though, you can use AI and still have an authentic feel. If you guys see some of the inspirational quotes I put out there, I will record on my Plod a meeting, and then I'll get in my Plod and I'm like, hey, tell me something inspirational I said in the meeting. So the AI is pulling something out of it that it thinks it's good. And then I'm using the AI to do the background content, but it's using all my own words. Mm-hmm. But also, some people are just saying, hey, I want to be a real estate investor and I want to talk about usury laws and make me a post on that, and they know nothing about it. And then It's not from the heart. It's a little different. So you got to add a little something. You mentioned before too, multiple times, that you do a lot in Reddit. Mm-hmm. So I bit the bullet. I created a Reddit account it's just so you guys know, it's Rio Radio Podcast. And then I was trying to post some stuff, and it was Facebook where I'm banned. I can't post on a lot of things. So I didn't have enough karma points. I'm like, what the hell are karma points? And so I did a quick read, oh, you need to have your post liked a whole bunch. So I started this page. I have no followers, but I created it 7 days ago. And so I got 259 karma points now.
Boy.
And what I did is went on all my favorite band pages, and I said, what's your first concert that you went to?
Oh, you're building up some karma. Okay.
This morning I had 54 more comments on my post. building my karma points and it's building my profile. Now I can comment on everything.
Yeah, and like we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Matt, Reddit represents 12% of search results. When you're in there Googling something on a search engine, and so it is what you make out of it. And if you have to like earmark some time for it, it can pay off. It can pay big dividends.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And I need a couple followers on Reddit. So Rio Radio Podcast, check us out. I create a group page where I'm starting to post some stuff, and I'll just post some content from this and things I normally share, but just another avenue to try to get some content out there. So.
Yeah. So earlier this week, I had a friend of mine, longtime friend, one of his family members he did start an AI company where they provide basically like voice and chat support for businesses. So anybody that's ever dealt with customer service with an AI chatbot, you're probably like, oh my God, let's shoot me, right now. I don't want to deal with that.
I dealt with that.
Yes. But I had a super, super interesting conversation with that dude.
I dealt with that with the food company. Factor.
Yeah.
And my boxes never showed up.
Oh, is that right?
It's been sitting at FedEx for like 4 days.
Oh, it's probably still fine.
And they're like, if it's not there within 2 days, we don't recommend eating it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to give you a credit, plus we'll give you a future credit. I'm like, thank you. But to do the AI chat system, it was what kept saying, Meta ID not recognized. And they kept on flashing, going back and forth. And I tried it for 2 days. I'm like, give me a phone number. So I got in ChatGPT, and I'm like, give me a number to call Factor.
This is kind of a topic shift, but have you ever hired a property manager? And I know you have mostly short-term rentals, midterm rentals. That's typically been your kind of wheelhouse with residential stuff. But I have
but I have had a manager.
Yeah, so I have a number of smaller properties that some of them I still self-manage, but I think I was adding this up. I think I have 5 different property management companies that I use. Sometimes
that's a lot.
So I want to ask you this, Ted. Sometimes I will have a tenant that either gets pissed or something happens with the property management company that's supposed to be handling all the day-to-day, and they look up who the owner is. So they'll get on the assessor site or whatever, and then they'll Google the LLC name. I mean, that's basically how you do it. And then I'll get a phone call or a text, and then somebody will say, hey, this is Jesse. Can you give me a call, please? Like, what does that say to you if you get that text? You're like, what the hell is this about? I have no idea what I'm walking into. It's probably not good.
Did they say that you're your tenant or
no
this property?
So I'll be like,
I would never respond to that. Though.
Yeah. So a couple back and forths, and then I find out, one of them's a tenant. This person's a tenant at one of my properties, and they say, can you give me a call, please? I'd like to have a conversation with you. So I call them, and they're like, start kind of going on a rant about, I've lived here for X amount of time, and I just don't feel I'm being treated fairly. I've been mowing the lawn for 5 years for free, and then something happened with the door. What happened was he has a big dog, and the dog ripped the screen door completely off the hinges and pulled the trim off and all that stuff. So needs a new, and the door basically folded. And so he's like complaining about that, and I'm like, old me would have been like, I probably would have been like, I'm kind of afraid to face this head on. I'll probably just bite the bullet and replace the door, because he had he was telling the story. And so I talked to I texted my manager this, and I'm like, hey, FYI, this dude's calling me. Here's the situation or whatever. And he's like, he kind of gave me his version of the story. And so my response was, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but whatever, it's what I said. I said, I hire this person to manage my properties. I don't get involved in the day-to-day activities of property management. So I would suggest you take it up with them to get a resolution. And then basically that was more or less the end of it. Although he tried calling me again, and I'm like, I can't get in the middle of this because I'm paying them for a reason to manage this. So, you have to work it out with them. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
what you're taking the power away from the property manager.
Exactly. Yeah. And what I was going to ask you today is, what is typically the most frustrating call for you to deal with, or interaction with somebody that's staying at one of your properties?
Yeah, I had that.
And you get a lot of them.
Yeah, I've had a lot the last week.
Yeah.
I had one last night. But
what type of situation is typically the most difficult to deal with? And I'll tell you mine after.
Okay, this one, was difficult because I was coaching. I'm a coach of my daughter's basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And on Tuesday night, I get a phone call, and the lady that stayed in my Airbnb for the next 2 months is like, I'm locked out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not the first time she's been locked out. And I go, what do you mean you're locked out? And I go, we have digital locks. And she's like, well, the front lock the front door is working, but I chain the door shut from the inside. So I can open that one, but the back door, the code isn't working. And I'm not going to give her my master code, which will open it always, because then she can get in anything. And then that's a whole nother headache, right? So it's like negative something degrees outside. She's got 2 kids and her man outside, and they don't have a car.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm coaching basketball. She's like, well, I need this taken care of right now. It's 7:00 at night. So luckily I was able to get a hold of a parent to help out the coaching side of this. And now here I'm leaving my kids to go downtown to see what the hell is going on. And our locking systems have these plugins that take the Wi-Fi and move it in. Well, her or her kids unplug the Wi-Fi system. Usually I try to hide them and put it in somewhere it's out of reach.
Oh my God.
And it has a 48-hour battery on it. Plus the locking system talks to you and tells you that it's been disconnected. And so they disconnected it. They've done it to themselves.
Like in your agreements, and I don't know how this works for short-term rentals, but do you have something in there about lockouts?
Not
like where if you have a lockout, it's going to be a $50 fee or a $75 fee or something like that to show up?
The whole building's keyless.
Right.
I've never had a lockout.
Okay.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
If a battery dies, it tells you for 2 weeks that the battery's dying.
I had, so this is last year. I remember this pretty vividly. And I don't think it was the same night I saw you at the Supernovas game where you held up Carson, Simba. Yeah. But
What a picture that was.
I was at a Supernovas game, and it's super cold out. And I remember I kept getting messages, and it was like, there's a fire alarm going off at this house. And I'm like, okay, like I got a neighbor that actually called, and they're calling me, they're calling Brandon, my business partner. And I'm like, is it on fire? First of all, and they're like, no, there's all this noise and it's super loud. And the neighbors called the fire department. You know what it was? It was a smoke detector. The battery was dead. It was just beeping like a normal smoke detector beeps. And I'm like, I'm like, okay. I'm in the middle of a game and we're watching it with my family and all this. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you, is this a smoke detector? Is it a fire alarm? Like you're saying fire alarm. What does that actually mean? Is there smoke rolling out of the building? What is going on? And anyway, my most frustrating thing typically is going to be unsolvable problems with neighbors or adjoining units.
I had one of those last week.
Those are my most frustrating problems to deal with.
Yeah.
These are on, typically self-management situations, but you'll have that, I've gotten calls from neighbors that have been like pissed because, oh, hey, I know you own this property. Your tenants have been throwing trash over the fence into my yard. They're totally disrespectful or loud all the time, whatever. And it's like, there's a fine line between absorbing that whole thing and then pawning it off onto somebody else. But you want to be a good, stand-up person. So like in that situation, it ended up being the neighbor got so pissed off at the tenants we had that he went over and was yelling at him. And then he got hit with a snow shovel, and then they ran him over with a car.
Oh my gosh.
And then it ended up in a high-speed chase down I-480 with I believe the helicopter was involved.
Shut the front door.
No, I swear this happened.
So why have you never talked about that?
I don't know. I thought I told this story before. I've got a whole bunch, Ted. I'm like a jukebox, man. But yeah, so there's situations like that can escalate very quickly. So it's one of those, it's a fine line between discount, like trying to pawn it off on somebody else and then taking, responsibility for what they're calling about. But you don't always know what that's going to end up like, because it could just end up being a nothing burger. And they're like, okay, they're annoyed that I'm putting a trash can slightly on their property line, but then it escalates into something else and people get really pissed. So it's the unsolvable problems between neighbors. And then Paul Vacheski that we've had on, he's well known to be kind of a guru when it comes to, not a guru, but
now part of our real estate commission.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be the next real estate commissioner of Nebraska.
He's one of the board members.
So anyway, the point being, he recommends telling them to call the police and they sort out their own problems. Your job is not to be a resident assistant or whatever they call those in college that everybody hates.
I had two
stay in a dorm room.
I had 2 Airbnb people go at it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Construction workers were in there and somebody else had their music on, and never was it told me what time this was really going down. But she calls and complains he dropped racial slurs to me. He yelled at me in front of my kids. Well, come find out, the music was blasting full blast. The whole building heard it at 3 a.m. And then this guy's construction workers, and they were supposed to stay there for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they cut the stay short, and he went out and yelled at her. He's like, "You need to turn the damn music down." His story and her story are totally different. I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to get involved with this. I'm going to let Airbnb handle this."
Yeah.
So I called my Airbnb
So that's
rep.
the move with short-term rentals or midterm rentals.
Because I'm not going to take a side when especially when
No.
race comes into the play. I'm not
that's
stepping
not
on
your
at all.
job. Yeah.
And I'm like, so I called Airbnb. I'm like, "You guys place these people? You go ahead and talk to them."
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, "Well, we want to verify that they're." I'm like, every unit in the building said they heard loud music, and and we advertise quiet time in the building and on our listings.
Yeah.
So it's 10 p.m.
Man, it's one thing when it's infighting between
but two different stories.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's not your job to, like, you can't get in the middle of that. So message here is, let somebody else that's a more professional mediator handle those things, i.e., attorney, police, whoever's going to get in the middle of that. But it shouldn't be you as the property manager between two tenants that are in the same building, or somebody that's maybe you own a single family or multifamily or whatever, and the neighbor has beef with whoever's living there. They have to figure that out. That's their issue. It's a people problem, not a your problem necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but it's a fine line, man. That's why I brought this up. Is like there's a lot of gray areas in landlording.
And your landlording is different than mine because you're getting issues that are more permanent, in my opinion. My issues are more like now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you,
that's true.
And when you do short term, everybody thinks
you have to you have the 5-star review. You got to keep in mind.
There's
right?
that, and everybody thinks something's broken. Oh, this TV doesn't work.
Yeah.
The microwave doesn't work. This and this. No, you don't know how to flip and use it. Oh, no, your kids swapped the remotes to the TVs in different rooms, and those aren't the TVs, those right remotes. You couldn't figure it out, so you held a reset button on the remote, and now it has to be reprogrammed because the remotes have been stolen 2 times, and I have universal remotes in there, and now it doesn't work with that TV. I understand that. If you want to try to do it yourself, I keep the manual in the drawer for you. The internet seems slow, and so you decide to hold the reset button on the modem. And the whole building's down. Yeah, I will have to do that with my phone now. Thank you very much, because I have to be there in person.
So for anybody still listening, this is the dark side of owning rental properties and short-term rentals.
It's just like little bullshit, but it's, for them, it's like the end of the world. Uh-huh. You expect me to stay in my place and not have internet or a TV? You did it to yourself.
That is true. However, I'm sure you've been on the other side of that fence as well, right? When you've stayed at other places and then they haven't had the amenities that were offered or like what you were expecting. There is that.
You ready to laugh?
Sure.
I've stayed at one Airbnb in my life.
What?
Yes. I always say hotels.
Why?
I just like them more.
Because everything's taken care of.
It's simple, easy. I like to have the pool. I like the breakfast. I like the parking.
And okay, the Airbnb that you stayed at, it wasn't even one that you booked, right? It wasn't in Florida or something, like a conference?
Oh, no. The one Airbnb was in Minnesota. I went up for a game.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I've never done an Airbnb. I really want to see how other people run it.
Okay.
And I'm like, God, I am a great Airbnb host.
Aiden, have you ever stayed at one? Okay. A lot, like several when you travel. Do you normally, as your move, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to go to Tampa and hang out with my bros. Do you search on Airbnb first or do you go to hotels.com? Like what's your move?
You search on Airbnb first.
Okay. So you're going to look for that.
Yeah.
And, so you've had good experiences overall, would you say?
Yeah. I stayed at a ranch house in Colorado. And it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
When we go on vacations with my in-laws, they always rent these like big cabins and stuff. Mm-hmm. And those are amazing experiences.
Here's my thing about Airbnbs versus hotels is if you have a family of 4, 5, 6, hotels can be a problem, especially if you have like smaller kids, right? Because you have Carson and Skylar, they're boy and girl, and they're getting older and whatever. They're not going to sleep in the same bed. It's hard to find adjoining suites. It's hard to find, you know what I mean? There's not always those.
When we take the kids to Minnesota, we have a hotel that we really love, and it's got 3 built-in bedrooms and a full kitchen.
Yeah,
and it's like an apartment. And
100%.
if that wasn't available, I would be looking for an Airbnb.
Yeah. So that's the problem is like, you know, but the guest experience is very important when you're the guest.
It is.
When you're not the guest and you're on the other side of the fence and you're managing that, it's a total pain in the ass.
And as an Airbnb host going to somebody else's Airbnb and then all I'm doing is judging.
Yeah. Oh, they did that. Oh man, I've had that. Yes, I 100% agree with you.
I like feel like I just pour it all out.
Yeah.
In my efforts. I feel like I'm a phenomenal host. Well, before we wrap up today, I definitely want to talk about Jasmine Greenwald, which I've known for about a decade in my real estate business, but just gotten to know her a lot better because she comes to the caffeine and crap rates.
Rebrand incoming.
When she said crap rates on accident, we just start cracking up. Oh my God, it was so funny. And then like, yes, this is the perfect name because the rates are crap, even though we had that quarter point drop. And anyway, so Jasmine's like thought she booked out far enough ahead that maybe we'd forget. So she booked out like 2-3 months ago. and I'm like done. I'm gonna put it right here on the calendar. She's like, really?
Yeah, and she goes, the funniest part was she's like, yeah, I got up this morning and looked at my calendar and she's like, oh, like, uh-oh. So she had a little bit of, podcast hesitancy, but killed it. Such a good episode. She is so fun, man. Bubbly personality, like really high-end homes that she has.
She's a 7-figure homes.
Yeah, yeah. And so she's a killer. And she self-described boss, not bossy, but boss. And so
poor Ben.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly. So she has been an expert at dispatching her fiance to disasters in Florida, and talks about basically operating a short-term rental business across the country, and how she's killing it at that, and how if you're thinking about buying something somewhere else, so like I have, so like Phoenix, Florida, somewhere that actually has decent weather during the wintertime, she has talked about in depth. Tune into the episode because she talks about like, okay, my first hesitancy about Florida is hurricanes. Twice a year, every other year, there's a major
how many times
hurricane.
Jerry Schlickman about that.
Exactly. And so she talks about how to navigate all of that, what the reality is versus expectations around insurance costs. She talks about how to mitigate, the high cost of flood insurance with the fact that Florida has really low property taxes in general. It was a really fascinating conversation. And she has the thing I love about her story is she's an artist by, trade. And also like when she was a little kid, she was really, really talented at being an artist and then ended up getting a master's degree in it, fully paid for.
Education.
Yeah. And became a teacher, left all of it and said, screw that. I'm going to go be a real estate agent and investor
in Nebraska.
In Omaha.
Yeah.
And
coming in from Minneapolis.
And then her second purchase ever wasn't even in the town that she lived in. It was in Southwest Florida. So crazy story. Stay tuned for that. Talks about, hurricanes, the aftermath, how they put it all back together. Horror stories with contractors that screwed her over.
A lot of horror stories.
Yeah. There were several, but super fun episode. I can't wait for you guys to hear that one.
She's fun. She's bubbly, and it makes it good listen. You guys will love it.
Yeah. So it overrides Ted's dullness on the episode.
Totally.
We always appreciate
my
that.
Toastmasters coach says I need more voice inflection in my conversations.
Do you really?
Yes. I had my first speech this week.
Oh, wow. How'd it go?
I spoke too fast, but they told me it was one of the best starting speeches they've seen.
Oh.
And I had no ums, no ands, and so's in my presentation.
What about?
Nope.
No, none of those.
Nope.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Aiden. Yeah, Aiden's nodding in approval.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's my stress relief.
Okay.
That's my woosah. Well, guys, we appreciate you guys listening to us. Please give us a 5-star review. I know we went a little long today, but I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I know that Owen and I had at least 2 old fashions, so it made the conversation just come out a lot easier. It's called greasing the wheels. But if you guys love what you hear, please leave them a 5-star. Written would be really nice because we like to read one. But speaking of reviews, we did get a review on Apple Podcasts, so thank you for that. We now have 136 6 5-star reviews, and 1 4-star review, and nothing else below that.
Man, the 1 4-star review. I mean, I hate to focus on the negative,
You
but
can't even see the spec now on the line, just so you know, but it is there. But we have a 5-star rating. It says entertaining and informative. I love listening to these guys. I'm not a real estate investor yet, but I learn along the way. So thank you, Momo F5000, for that review. Do you know who that is?
Momo F5000.
Yeah.
I do not know who that is.
Just watch out for that license plate. But thank you for that review. We appreciate that. And please leave us a review. It means the world to us. But with that, Owen Dashner, we see us out.
On behalf of Rio Radio, Aiden Bear, and Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dashner, and you've been listening to the
Real Estate Rundown. Sign off.
Where were you, dog? Come on, you're slipping, man. Jeez, paying all this overtime over here for him to drink old fashions and doesn't even get on the mic with us. Is that a clown?
Welcome to Real Estate Radio.
But hey, you got 3 words out.
There you go.